We men and women are all in the same boat, upon a stormy sea. We owe to each other a terrible and tragic loyalty. We naturally tend to think of our lives as stories and ourselves the main character, while at the same time forgetting that everyone else is living their own story in which they have the major role. Anonymous curators of a digital culture have popularized the term coined by John Koenig. The word is sonder and is described as a profound feeling of realizing that every person, including each stranger we pass in the street, has a life just as complex as our own, which they are constantly living despite our personal lack of awareness of it.
One of the things that I think we face in our culture today is disconnect. I think many people spend an awful lot of time alone. And yet the human heart really does long for and desire, and in the Christian tradition, made for relationship.
They do a wonderful job of helping those in need with food insecurity in Cheyenne. Father Carl and Eva and all the volunteers are just amazing. And they help so many people that need help in this community.
I think the need for people right now is that they can't make it. I mean, they can have a job and they're working, but they just cannot make ends meet. And so we are here for them.
And so I think the food pantry can be a place where those kinds of human connections are made. And hopefully it's a place where they experience respect, where they experience another person honoring their dignity as a human being.
How often do we realize that we all appear in the backgrounds of each other's stories?
I think the face of food insecurity and people struggling has changed. I think we all, in our minds, maybe see the person standing on a street corner with a sign asking for help. You know, we still see those. But I think the unseen face of need is, you know, it's people living on a fixed income. It's seniors who are only living on Social Security, and just it's hard to make ends meet.
Like extras in movies, we play roles in a complex web of individual stories.
People that we serve, it's a wide cross-section of society within Cheyenne.
How often we focus on our own storyline and remain unaware of those around us, even in our own community.
We have met through this young couples, young or single people, students from LCCC, actually even high school.
You'll find single moms, you'll find young families, you'll find families who for whatever reason both have part-time jobs or even full-time jobs, and still their money is not able to go far enough to make sure they have enough food.
Seniors that are on limited income that come through.
We also have an awful lot of veterans that come to us. Again, they rely upon government assistance for an awful lot of their living expenses, and their money's not going as far as they would have hoped.
I mean, it's not a certain group that comes through. We have a variety of just everybody, from young to older.
It's not just for the needy, or like people would say, the poor. They're here to help everybody.
Well, I worked construction a lot in my lifetime.
I was born in Wyoming. I love it here. Everybody does.
I deliver flowers now. It's really part-time and I make people smile and it helps.
I was born and raised here, and here I am.
I was in the reserve for 8 years. I was in the Gulf of Mexico when Cuban crisis come on, where they told the Russians to go home. Well, I thought maybe I might not go home until the end of the war, but they turned around and went back, and I didn't end up in the war.
Born in Cheyenne and raised in Laramie. I had grandparents that lived over in Carpenter on the farm, and I also had grandparents that lived here in Cheyenne, so Cheyenne's like a hometown to me.
They welcome everybody who's in need of food.
You know, some people don't want to get help. I was kind of one of those people.
It's been a long couple of last years, and so I've been able to use the food pantry, and it's been very helpful.
I have having some trouble, I guess, being on my own, but I want to be independent, and the food pantry helps out because sometimes it's hard to be able to get food, and I don't qualify for food stamps because I make too much money. And so by having the service here, it gives me stability and I'm able to go to work and have food at the house.
It's amazing. It's amazing. If it hadn't been for this place, there's been times when I wasn't sure exactly where my groceries were, my bread especially.
I mean, so that's a blessing in itself. And, you know, people sometimes, you know, they say negative things, but, you know, it's if you don't look, you're not going to know, or if somebody doesn't show you.
If people haven't experienced it for themselves, it's harder for them to understand the problems.
What if we cultivated this feeling of Sonder? What if we had a profound realization of the interconnected nature of our stories? What if we responded when we realized that many people, whose stories are interwoven with ours, are facing food shortage and hunger? It isn't that we can't find a solution, it is that we don't see the problem. The tragedy is not that we don't care about the hungry, it is that we don't even see them.
It's easy to give, and it's harder to look at, okay, why is Cheyenne having all these issues? How do you get that conversation started with people who aren't even aware that there's a problem?
Yeah, we just come over here and then we get, pick up a little bit of food and supplement what we have and share a little bit with some other people.
And we can transform our community when we finally see the thousands of others who make up our story. When we realize that they experience the same things that we experience. Love, disappointment, laughter, and hunger. And when we're willing to take action, to participate in their story as a supporting character.
The food pantry is available to anybody that judges themselves to be in need of food.
Yeah, don't hesitate, because we'd rather have something for you to have on your table than not have anything.
It's really helped for just like a lot of basic food needs, because the availability and be able to come in every week is really helpful. And sometimes when I don't have to be here, it's nice knowing that other people are utilizing it.
They care about you more than just being a number because they pay attention to who you are.
People I've just gotten to know, and they almost seem like kind of like family.
They treat you normal, like a human being. They don't have no negativity about you.
We feel it's our obligation as a Christian to do our very best to be of help to them, and what God provides for us, we need to make available to those people who are in need, and we're happy to do it.
Everybody who comes here, they do not let them leave hungry. They're just here to help.
It's helped us out a lot. Honestly, it really has.
When you need help, it's a help up.
The volunteers that we have at the pantry are incredible men and women, and they come from a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different churches and civic organizations who give an hour and a half or 3 hours of their time on a given day. And we have about 80 of them from around the community of Cheyenne. And they're just some of the most generous, kind, giving people I've experienced.
It's easy to write a check or it's easy to donate food, but until you get down there and see for your own eyes the impact and what is really going on, I think that's that first step.
I believe that a lot of people who are struggling with food shortage are struggling with a lot of other issues within their life. And many times find themselves perplexed, maybe, as to where to go. How do we move forward in one's personal life or within their family life when there appears to be roadblocks that they just continue to bump up against or struggle to move beyond?
It's been a godsend, and it's kind of nice to walk in and see familiar faces and have them minister to you when you're feeling like falling apart.
I think coming to the food pantry out of need is certainly their motivation. But I hope the experience when they come here is one that lifts their spirit and that they do feel a little more hopeful and maybe a little more motivated and how they're going to approach that next hurdle or that hurdle that's going to come next week. At least they don't have to worry about food. They have that issue taken care of.
I mean, it's a blessing to everybody. It's a really good place.
It's just been a rewarding experience to work here and to help people.
The story of St. Joseph's Food Pantry is really a collection of thousands of individual stories. It involves all of us. Those who fall on hard times and have needs that must be met, whose stories intersect with others who take the opportunity to help.
So anybody that judges themselves to be in need of some food are more than welcome to come to St. Joseph's Food Pantry.
Come, we are here for you.